As of today, my channel has 1,000 subscribers, which is kind of fun. So I thought, just because, I would open this pocket timer, well, stopwatch. This one has a little bit of history for me because it's one that my dad gave me, in fact, just the other day. But I've opened this before, probably when I was about 10 or 12. This dates from the middle 70s. It was, a work thing of his that got kind of liberated, possibly from the U.S. federal government at that point, because that's who he was working from then. But it was just, always in his desk in the, in the little box. And as I said, I've been through this before, and I'll just show you how it works. I mean, I think everybody should know how it works, but who knows? Not everybody's used to analog devices anymore, so it works exactly how you think it should. Stop. It's a 30-second dial. It goes around twice. It has a minute subdial here, which is split. You'll see in white and red, so that tells you which subdial you're on, whether you're in the first 30 seconds or the second 30 seconds. By doing that, it gives you tenth of a second readability, so your resolution is a tenth of a second. I tested it over 4 minutes with a quartz watch, and it was dead on. So I don't know, I haven't done the full 15 minutes yet, but if it's from 1975, right, it still works perfectly. Now, you won't have been able to hear it, and then there's your reset button, right? So you let it go, and that button resets the whole thing. To get into this, it looks like the back comes off. It's a separate piece, but there's no obvious way to do it. However, if you look around the front glass, you'll see that there's where is it here? Right there. That's going to be a bit difficult for you to see. And you can see that it's a bit scratched up because as a kid, of course, I went through it. So your entrance into this is from the front. And I'll be careful because it works and I care about it. So I'll just tease that apart. There we go. The front comes off. I'll put that aside over here. We won't need those. And the entire movement is held in place by a plastic spacer, which I'm just wiggling out across the top here. And there we go. And there we have a look at the movement. Made in Switzerland. It says 7 joules, which sounds like as many as you would need for a stopwatch movement. Big winding mechanism here. It's pretty well fully round. Here's the escapement. There's where you would adjust it. And this pin here, this little, I'll point like this, that's where the reset tab, which just pokes through here, has a little brass pin from the side of the case here, like that, comes in and resets it. So if we get it going, we'll look at the back because then we can see the escapement. That's kind of fun. Right, moves quite fast. And then once we have it up, we can push the little, I can't push it very well with just my finger, but there we go. And it resets. Putting it back together is straightforward. Again, I still remember this, having done it before. You make sure this little plastic spacer is in position. Slide it in, and pop the front glass back on. I think I'll line up the, I'm looking for a little removing tab. There we go. It snapped right back on, and that's it. So you know, very quickly after the middle 70s, for any sort of research purpose or anything, these were replaced with digital timers. For his kind of work, this was probably more than enough precision. And, yeah, you know, pretty good. And if you look at it, and I'll just reach off and take off the watch I'm wearing today, which is a Stowa NTKS, which means small seconds. You can see this has a little bit of a decorated movement. This is just it's a German watch, but the movement is Swiss, and it's got Stowa's numbering. But you can see the same little balance wheel, the same basic design, except rather than being a stopwatch, it runs continuously. So what's interesting, oh, it's just blown out. What's interesting about this is that this is a really pleasant and tactile thing to use. You know, in the 70s, in the early 80s, this was replaced with LED display stopwatches, which, for those of us who are old enough to remember that era, we very quickly replaced it. They could do multiple laps, they could do all sorts of things, and of course, digital wristwatches could do more than this ever could. But in terms of just being a pleasant thing to use, so I've been using it to time meetings and stuff a little bit, just since I've been doing some more online stuff than I typically have at work. And I've got to say, it's just really pleasant having the heavy, tactile, clicky buttons. I mean, come on, that's satisfying in a way that starting your phone will never be. Anyhow, thanks for watching. This is a not terribly edifying look inside this Beauwyn 7 joule, 1/10 of a second, 15-minute stopwatch.